Okay. Well, good morning and welcome back here to another edition of Get Real with Real Estate, hosted by Jameson Melbye. I'm Jack Caldwell, and Jameson, of course, he's kind of like the main event. I'm just like the side dish on the show here as we get rolling here on another Saturday on KWayne 106. And Jameson, I guess the focal point of the show today, we could call this the Sellers Show. So let's get started. So sellers, take note, take interest. I can see the ears starting to perk up. First question here is, what do I need to do to get my home ready to list that home?
Okay, so the first thing would be calling Jameson Melbye with RE/MAX Results, obviously.
Yes, that's a good place to start. Very good place to start.
So that's the first thing, and then what I can do is I can give you plenty of tips and ideas on, getting your landscaping together, trimming some bushes, and then really the big thing is giving it a good curb appeal outside, and then what we want to do is focus on inside. So decluttering, packing up things you're not using, taking down your family photos. We want it to look as good as we can for the professional photos when they arrive. So we, have a pretty detailed plan. I give checklists and things like that to make sure that everything's done.
All right, now another question here, Jameson, is what is staging? What's the purpose of staging?
Okay, so staging is where somebody comes in who's an expert in home staging, and what that is getting the interior ready for showings and for the photos. So the person I have, her name is Melissa Groshong from the Twin Cities with Ravishing Rooms Staging, I guess it's called. So
I like that. Ravishing Rooms.
Yeah,
nice.
Ravishing Rooms. Yeah. So she comes in and goes room by room, and then she gives like a checklist of recommendations to do, and then to get ready for the photo shoot. So a lot of that, like I said, is the decluttering, depersonalizing, and when you go to a motel and you walk in and the room is very plain, you have like a couple paintings on the wall. It's really well put together, very depersonalized. That's how we want the house to look for showings, so more people feel comfortable there and they can envision themselves in the house. That's why we do that.
All right, there you go. Another one here. You mentioned professional photography. Now, why is this important?
Okay, so in this day and age, we don't have nearly as many showings as we used to because when I first started selling real estate 10 years ago, the MLS had 10 photos and nobody is doing anything professionally. So now that we have professional photos, most of us do it, and it's really important. I'm surprised that some people don't yet, but you want the house to look as good as possible. Now we have 24 photos online, we have virtual tours, things like that, so you don't have as many first showings as you used to have. So if you can't pass that online test, having the house look good, they're not going to book a showing. So we want wide angle lenses that show the room in its full capacity, and the colors are good, the lighting is good, so there's a lot of advantages to professional photography, definitely.
Before we get to our next question, just a sidebar for me, I can remember the first time we went to look at a home, or we're really going to purchase our first home. This was back in the early 1990s. It has changed immensely, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I see you're laughing about that.
I heard stories about they would, shoot pictures, go get the film developed, take the photo and, glue it to a piece of paper and run off copies for the flyers. So it's definitely come a long way since that point. So.
I guess we could say that was then and this is now.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Now, part of your listing package is having the home pre-inspected. So what's the reason for that?
Okay, so part of the plan I developed was having the houses pre-inspected and have a home warranty. So if you're buying a car from a private party, there's hesitation because you don't know much about that car, right? Where if you go to a dealership and they have had it, they've looked it over, they put a warranty on it, it's a certified pre-owned vehicle, it makes you feel good that this car has been looked at. So that's the same philosophy, that I have with the pre-inspecting and the home warranty is that the house has been looked over, hopefully the seller has fixed the items that come up on the report. If they haven't, at least what's wrong with the house going into it. And then we have a home warranty that covers it for a year, so there's less hesitation. It feels better buying the house because it's not been, somebody's looked at it, it's warranted, so it's a good buy at that point.
Very good, Jameson. We'll take a break, come back with part 2 of Get Real with Real Estate, hosted by Jameson Melbye and yours truly, Jack Caldwell. We're back after this on KWayne 106.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Ready for part 2?
Ready for part 2. Here we go.
Sounds good.
Okay. We're back. This is part two of today's edition of Get Real with Real Estate, hosted by Jameson Melbye, and I'm Jack Quabble. So let's pick up, Jameson, where we left off. This is a show that's kind of focusing in on the sellers and the seller's perspective. So let's get cooking again. What are some other good ideas to have when you're putting a home up for sale?
Okay, so there's some pretty creative things we can do. One is one of the services I also provide is having professionally written ad copy. So Renee Garrick, the grammar queen, she writes my ad copy. So she kind of writes a fun story about the house and what you can do living here. So it's just not your standard boring text. That's one thing. The other thing is you can have Scentsy, those Scentsy candles.
Yes.
Burning. So
Right.
it's kind of a mental trick, but if somebody comes in and the house smells good.
A mood setter.
Yeah, a mood setter. The house smells good. It kind of creates this positive energy versus, the first time I saw this is we were out looking at foreclosures all day. It was hot. It was like an August day. They stink, things like that. We walked in a house and this person had the Cinnabon smell going in their house from the burners, and we were just like, oh man, And,
Really, yes.
and they, people fell in love with the house, and I thought, well, was it that it was a nice house or that it just smelled good after all the stuff we saw? So there's some things you can do like that, and keeping the house clean are good ideas. Fertilizing your lawn if you haven't fertilized it before, have it nice and plush green. So there's plenty of ideas, I can give on, getting them ready to sell.
For our instance, I'm just thinking we have a little dog. We love her to death, but yes, I mean, when you have pets, there are odors. So keep that in mind, prospective sellers too,
Yep.
as you're putting your home up for sale. Certainly, you're talking about stories about homes. The home we're in right now, built in the late 60s, the first owners had it 18 years. The second owners had it 18 years. Now we're the third owners, and we're coming up, well, I'm sure we're going to be there close to 18, if not more.
Okay.
It's crazy how that goes. So when you look at it, there's interesting stories for every single home, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Next one here. Is now still a good time to sell my home? What about summer? Of course, we talk about late spring, maybe into early summer, but the summer months, is that okay too?
Yeah, so right now it's still great. Houses are selling pretty quick. We have a lot of people out looking. And once basically the 4th of July hits, people start thinking about camping, those vacations to South Dakota, things like that. So the showings definitely slow down during July and August, which, some people, they don't want a lot of showings. They want their house to sell, but they're okay with the slower market. So, if your house doesn't sell, in the next, month or so, don't worry. I mean, it can still sell over the summer. But then September is when people start looking heavily again. They kind of have the vacations done. They realize snow is coming at some point, so it creates some urgency for the buyers. Nobody likes to move in the winter. So
yeah, that can be tough. Certainly, I've done that once, and that was a tough one. So.
Right.
Get Real with Real Estate, hosted by Jameson Melbye. Jack Quabble with you. Another question, Jameson, is once it's all taken care of here for the sellers, how will the home be advertised?
Okay, so the biggest thing, with real estate agents is we put your house on the MLS. That populates out to all the broker websites, and we have this, what we call a reciprocity. So it shows up, on, Remax listing will show up on Edina Realty's website, Coldwell Banker, etc. And vice versa. So they show up there, and then hundreds of websites like your Zillow's, Trulia's, Realtor.com. There's Home.com. There's all these websites that people can find. And sometimes I laugh when I see a website I haven't heard of, but yet that's where they saw the listing. So we do that, and then I do a lot of Facebook marketing. So I always tell people to go to my page, Remax Results, Jameson Melbye Real Estate is on Facebook. I put virtual tours on there, helpful tips on houses. So really, I get a lot of, reach on Facebook, and then I do some targeted ads where, if it's a, smaller, ranch style home and I think it might be a first time home buyer, I can run ads targeted right at certain age groups, certain criteria, versus, like a bigger house, we can run different targeted ads that way. So it's just pretty cool, the technology that we have at our disposal.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about how much it has changed over the years, and it will continue to do so. So, Jameson, bottom line is, tell me again, what would it cost to sell my home?
So on average, you have title fees at the title company, you have state transfer tax, things like that. But on a house, let's say that's $100,000, you're going to spend anywhere from $6,000 to $7,000 ballpark. So then you can multiply that up. If you're, around 150, you're looking at, 8,000 to 11,000, depending on, those are the total, hard costs there. So then, one thing you can do is you can shop, real estate agents. Like I said, we have varying fees. Some people have fixed costs, things like that. In my position, I have several marketing plans to choose from, so it's really tailored to what somebody's looking for. Do they want all of the marketing, all of the pre-inspections, the home warranties, things like that, or do they want just a very basic professional photography listing? And so it really is tailor made to what somebody wants. So it's
Kind of like maybe the gold, silver, and bronze medal or whatever.
Yeah. My packages are platinum, gold, and silver, and then I have a couple others from that. So you got it.
Excellent stuff as always. Again, give us some contact information if people are looking to sell, buy, whatever.
Yeah, so my cell phone I always say is 651-764-8933. You can find me on Facebook, Remax Results, Jameson Melbye Real Estate. That's my business page, and then on the web at jamesonmelbye.com.
It's always fun to get real with you, Jameson.
Yeah,
And that's why we call the show Get Real with Real Estate, hosted by Jameson Melbye. Have a good week. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Jack.
All right, this is Action Jack Calva for Jameson Melbye here on K-Wayne 106. We'll see you again next week with another edition of